You're watching KWQC TV, the news leader, making a difference in the Quad Cities.
Live from the Quad Cities with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel. This is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, you have a chance to learn the art of Pysanka egg decorating right here in the Quad Cities. We'll learn more about a couple of workshops, one of them for an important cause.
You can travel internationally with TV6 this fall. We'll get the scoop on the Rhine River Cruise with Paula Sands and holiday vacations.
And the Figure Art Museum is combining art, personal stories, and expert insight to help those affected by dementia. A panel discussion for families and caregivers is happening soon, and we'll tell you all about it. Thanks for joining us for Quad Cities Live. It is Wednesday, March 5th. I'm Kyle Keel.
And I'm Jake Eastburn filling in for Morgan. This weekend, the Antique Spectacular Vintage Market returns to the QCCA Expo Center in Rock Island.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to shop quality antiques and vintage collectibles from all around the world. And joining us right now is Michelle Juring with Vintage Rose Jewelry. She is just one of about 70 vendors, and she's joining us now with a sampling of what we can expect this weekend at the QCCA Expo Center. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, of course. So tell us more about your business and what you do.
What we primarily focus on is jewelry from the 1800s, some mid-1700s, Georgian era, through the Victorian era, and into Art Deco and Edwardian. Didn't do that in order, but so we'd go from about late 1700s to about 1940.
Okay, all the eras.
What got you started with this?
A search for my great-grandmother's necklace.
Oh, how special.
Yes, she had her portrait at 16 done with this beautiful book chain and tassels, and I thought I wanted to see it. She gave away a lot of her jewelry. I wasn't looking for that piece, but something similar.
Did you end up finding it?
No.
This
is the journey.
Ah, there you go. Maybe you'll find it this
journey.
weekend.
Yes.
But many are enjoying your journey because you find great stuff.
Yeah.
We have had a wonderful, we just celebrated 15 years in December of our store. And then we've been on the road for almost 30 years doing antique shows. And we love it. We've been very blessed with great customers.
Tell us about this piece that we're looking at. We're looking at a close shot of it.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah.
It's got a little, sorry. It is
That's okay.
late Victorian. It's festooned. And so that would be right about that late 1890s to 1900. They get a little bit more delicate once you get into the 1900s. And but this is it's a rolled gold with paste stones, glass stones.
Okay.
But they're rare because they broke. And they're exquisite on. They just lay beautifully around the neck.
Yeah, very, very beautiful piece.
And so that is a really pretty piece. This is more your Art Deco.
Okay.
And so you get into that Art Deco era, and you see a lot of marcasites. Oh, I shouldn't have picked those up, sorry.
No, that's okay.
And marcasite rings, and then you get into the scarabs and the Egyptian revival.
The Egyptian, yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. On your side are that is right about 1900. That would be a choker, and gorgeous 14 karat gold and seed pearls. Right about night is just exquisite. You would have worn that to one of the dances.
Yeah.
And what about this piece here?
That is Victorian. That's older. That's in around 1860s, 1880s, and it actually would have had a longer chain. But that is a purple stone. Purple was royalty. Believe it or not, at one time, you had diamonds, emeralds, amethysts, diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires, and amethysts. And then once they found out it wasn't a rare, when these other mains opened up and it wasn't a rare, it got delisted. Now it's just semi-precious.
Well, you definitely know your jewelry, that's for sure. So in addition to jewelry, we've got a few other items here. This is a bank, you were telling me?
Yes, this is a bank.
Interesting.
And you put your coin there and he flip it up and he eats it.
Oh, that's cool.
And so there's going to be other exhibitors there, and they will be having, metal banks, metal toys. There'll be just a wide variety. Yeah.
How does it work? There we go.
Yeah,
There you go. Oh, we should have brought the coin up
right there.
Yeah.
And
should have robbed the bank. Yeah.
All right, and then we got this piece right here.
And they'll be having, some miniatures and some lovely hand-painted vases.
Yeah, these are beautiful.
And then some more. This is just gorgeous. Deco. Arts and crafts kind of between. Then a lot of, there's several dealers who will have perfumes, and those are miniature perfumes. That's a lovely tourist piece that they would have brought home with them.
Oh, sure.
I think it's the Cologne Cathedral.
I was gonna say some nice scenery there.
Well, you've been part of the Antique Spectacular now for quite some time. It's a great show for folks that haven't made their way out, and dozens upon dozens of vendors.
There's over 70 vendors,
That's
and
great.
they're all quality vendors. They are on the road. Our paths crisscross a lot, and so it's fun when you get to see them again. We do buy a few things off of each other, and we just love looking at what other vendors bring to the show.
There's quite an assortment, right?
There's
Yeah.
quite an assortment. I was just laughing, but there's mid-century, a lot of high-end glass, pottery, furniture, mid-century decor, a lot of beautiful lamps and statues, bronzes, even comic books,
Yeah.
jewelry, and there's so much more. And comics sometimes is how I got my kids out there in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and enticing them to get out there with
Yes,
those topics.
exactly.
So let's talk about vintage versus antique. Maybe this is more common knowledge, but I just learned yesterday from producer Claire that there is a difference between items that are considered vintage and items that are considered antique.
There are. Typically, it depends on what category you're in. Comics, you have Golden Age. You don't
Yeah.
have, it doesn't bear fruit there. It's 100 years typically for antique jewelry.
Okay.
Antique
100,
anything.
okay.
100 is your breaking point. And then for vintage, it's 35 years typically.
Okay.
Different, those aren't hard, fast rules. And
But rule of thumb.
Yeah,
rule
okay.
of thumb, and it's really just wait till you age and you start realizing some of your things, your vintage.
I'm vintage. I'm 35 now.
Yes, you're
I'm not vintage yet. I got a couple more years.
And vintage toys sell.
Oh yeah, those are very, very popular.
Very, very popular. Vintage toys
Yeah.
are great, and even antique toys are fun. But people tend to buy their childhood.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Nostalgia is big, and I think a lot of people can find that this weekend at the show.
They can, and that's why I played with my great-grandmother's jewelry when I was a child. And so those are my toys. And we'll also have some lovely diamond rings.
Well, lots to check out at the Antique
Yeah.
Spectacular Vintage Market. It is this weekend at the QCCA Expo Center in Rock Island. Friday 4 to 8, Saturday 10 to 6, and Sunday 10 to 4. Admission is $10, which covers all 3 days. And you can even get a $1 off admission coupon online at antiquespectacular.com.
And if you want to get in touch with our guest, Michelle, you can give her business Vintage Rose Jewelry a like and follow on Facebook. Michelle, we appreciate you taking some time to be here today, and have fun this weekend.
Oh, we will, and thank you so much for inviting us.
Of course.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
All right, coming up next here on Quad Cities Live, a series of local art workshops supporting humanitarian efforts overseas. How you can participate and what you get to make. Next on QCL.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
Pisanka is an ancient Ukrainian egg decoration tradition celebrating important life events, all created with beeswax and dyes.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You have a chance to create your own eggs at a workshop this weekend in LeClaire. Ksenia Muka is hosting the event and supporting a great cause, which let's start off with that, the cause behind this.
So as everyone knows, Ukraine has been in the news recently quite a bit. The need there is absolutely dire. If you feel completely abandoned by the U.S. like they are being right now, not only the humanitarian aid, but the defenders are out in the trenches and they need to keep defending and believing that there are those who will support. That's what I'm doing. I'm raising all the funds that I get for admission. The entire amount goes for aid.
And this is something that you've been doing over the last few years. I mean, did you think that we would still be here? I think this is the 3rd year you're doing it?
Yes, it is. Ever since the war broke out, and it's been 3 long years, even though most people didn't think that Ukraine would hold on longer than 24 hours. And here we are 3 years later still having this conversation. So yes, I had just retired from John Deere and I had the opportunity to start doing these, and I'm very, very glad that there has been a huge response and participation.
And you truly have a passion for it, and it's obviously you've got a big Ukrainian background as well in your family.
Yes, I was raised speaking Ukrainian.
Yeah.
I was raised in a family where we only spoke Ukrainian at home. Philadelphia has a very large Ukrainian community, so there was no exposure to the larger English-speaking community until I went to kindergarten. And I was there with my cousin, who also did not speak any English. I knew bathroom cookie. That's it.
I mean, what more do you need to know at that age, right?
Exactly. However, as kids, you pick up the language very quickly.
Sure.
We did that with our daughter when she was small. We raised her speaking only Ukrainian, and then she picked up English. And I think it's a great talent to have. There are people here in the community who are sheltering now from Ukraine. When they first came, some of them did not have language, and it was great to be able to help them with the translation, with some of the technicalities that they had to take care of. So I think it's definitely an asset, and the moral of that certainly is teach them when they're young.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do it. But this tradition, though, this is something that I was familiar with growing up. I didn't practice it in my teen years and beyond, just because
I was going to ask you that. That was going to be my question if you made these growing up.
Well, as a kid I did, and I remember my very first session when I sat down to do this, I had a teacher who picked up the egg that I was working on, and she held it up and she said, "Look at these little boxes she made," and for some reason that stuck in my head. So there are those who make these eggs as artists.
Yeah.
They will use the process and make this into an art form. I continue to practice this just because it's a tradition. My eggs, as you can see, are more traditional, but I did bring two that are simpler. They're not necessarily traditional. This one especially is not necessarily traditional colors. But at this point, there's so much evolving.
The blue on it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This one. There's so much evolving, and some of the people who pick this up as art, they make fantastic things. My, call it skill set, is more teaching.
Yeah.
I love sharing this. I love the minute when someone starts taking the wax off their egg and seeing what's behind it. That's the aha moment.
So you got a couple of workshops coming up this Saturday in LeClaire at the LeClaire Civic Center. So these eggs right here are kind of the process of it. So kind of walk us through the process of what people will be learning, because they all get their own egg, right?
Yes, everyone goes home with and they are hollowed out, which is. It's an abomination because the whole egg represents the re-life. This is rebirth. However, I do blow them out just because it's a lot easier to work with.
Sure.
But what we'll do is everyone will have a tool called the kistka.
Kistka, okay.
Yes. And so it has a wooden stem. It has a hollow end, wider end. It's a little funnel. This is a point. And everyone also gets to work with a piece of, it's pure beeswax. We have lit candles, which is another fun thing to work with, hot wax and candles. So we have to heat up the kistka in the candle in order to scrape a little beeswax into the wide end of the funnel. Then we have to melt that wax, apply it to the egg, and the wax comes out like ink out of a pen. And that's what we will be doing. So you have to keep repeating and going back to the fire and putting more wax. And the whole process basically is you treat the egg everywhere where you want to protect the color of the egg. When it is that color, you apply wax. It's almost like painter's tape.
Yeah, okay.
You cover it up.
It's a guide.
So this one already has wax on the egg when it's white. Then the whole egg gets dipped in yellow. And then we apply more wax to follow the design. Everywhere where we want to keep that egg yellow, we cover with wax. Then we'll go to green. We cover with wax everything we want green, and so on. Red, and then the final color here is black.
Okay.
Now this egg, just like this one, it's the same design, it's full of wax. But because the design is now finished, we will melt that wax over the candle.
Watch the magic happen.
This is the magic. We will melt the wax because beeswax melts at a very low temperature.
Sure. Look at that.
Oh, shiny.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Vibrant colors.
Yes.
Vibrant
Wax is
colors.
removed.
So the colors that we use dyes.
Oh, there we go.
This way.
Live TV.
So it's special dye that most of it uses distilled water and vinegar. You can keep them from year to year. I have my dyes in jars, and they do keep. Right now, they're about 2 years old.
Okay.
The Kiska is certainly the main element. There are electric ones now where you don't have to keep dipping into the fire, into the wax. It will keep a constant temperature. And then, I mean, there are variations.
Yeah.
However, how traditional do you want to go?
Yeah, right, exactly. Might as well do the traditional way. So, how much are tickets again?
It's $25 admission.
There you go. So we have all that information on the screen. The Pysanka workshop is happening this Saturday, March 8th. And if you want to sign up, you can email ukrainianegg@gmail.com. Zania, of course, as always, thanks for joining us. Clearly, you've got a passion for these eggs.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Slava Ukraini.
All right, coming up next here on Quad Cities Live, how you can see some of the best of Europe this fall. TV6 and Holiday Vacations are partnering for a river cruise hosted by Paula Sands. Details next on QCL.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
Hello, Quad Cities. Hi, friends. Your pal Paula here. I've had the opportunity, the great honor of traveling with so many of you through the Holiday Vacations tours, and I have one coming up that when it was first presented to me, I couldn't say yes fast enough. It is a European river cruise on the Rhine this fall. It's my favorite way to travel. I kid you not. If you've not experienced river cruising, it's smaller ships, very personalized attention, amazing food. The food on the Amadeus line, it'll knock you down every time in a good way. And such a great way to see the views, the scenic views. And listen to the views on this trip. We're taking off from Zurich, Switzerland, ports of call along the way in France, Germany, and we end up in Amsterdam. Amazing, a dream, really. And the greatest thing about it, I think, is that it's Holiday Vacations, which is the best. That means you're not going to have to worry about a thing except having the time of your life. And I personally guaranteed that. So let's go. Let's go. In September, you're about to hear all the details. I hope you can come with us.
Oh, great to hear from Paula. Sounds like an amazing trip already. So joining us now with the details is Holiday Vacations Destination Manager Kristen Wells. Kristen, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to talk to you.
Yes, of course. So obviously Holiday Vacations has had a great partnership with KWQC really over the last couple of decades.
Exactly. Since 2007, we've been in business now for over 50 years, and we've just had a fantastic partnership with KWQC for sure.
And every single person who's gone on just raves about it. They love it. So what makes these holiday vacation tours so unique?
You know, I think first off, the fact that we've been around for a long time, we know what we're doing. We love working with your station because we're able to provide that extra service by bringing our tour director down to meet with your group, start with everybody right there, do the pickups on the way to Chicago, and nobody has to worry about a thing. Our tour director takes care of everything. Then when we arrive in Europe, we also have the services of a multitude of different guides. So people really are very well taken care of.
Yeah, so, as Paula was saying, this is the Rhine River Cruise from Basel, Switzerland to Amsterdam. So it's this fall, September 21st through October 2nd. So let's talk about some of the highlights on the tour with Paula.
Sure. Well, first of all, we start out, in addition to the cruise, we want to be able to spend some time in beautiful Switzerland. So we fly into Zurich, we make our way down to Lucerne, which is gorgeous. It's surrounded by the Alps. It's really your first foray into just the beginning of a wonderful trip. We'll take a trip up into the Alps, into the mountains by a cogwheel train. We'll come down by the gondola. So we'll really have a great start. Then we get on board our beautiful, beautiful Amadeus ship, which I'm sure you've read about it.
Yeah.
People are very well taken care of on there too.
Yeah, Paula raves about that as well. And we're looking at video. The viewers at home are looking at video. I'm guessing that the video is just not going to do this area some justice.
Exactly. Nothing does it justice, right? The other thing, too, is that we've chartered this Amadeus Star vessel. So it'll be all holiday vacations travelers on board the ship.
Okay.
So that makes it really special. The other thing is we've included all the shore excursions, so you really don't have to think about a thing. You can sit back and relax and just watch the beautiful scenery go by until we get to the different ports, and then we, do our walking tours and other exciting adventures along the way.
Yeah, and we're looking at a map of some of those stops there along the Rhine. And like Paula said, these river cruise ships, a little more intimate than some of the big line cruise ships that you might hear about, like going to the Caribbean or something like that.
Yeah, that's really true. And yet you'll have a lot of the services and amenities. It's mostly about where you're traveling to and the fact that the ship is relatively small. There are only 84 cabins, 164 people. That's it. So you compare that to a size of an ocean liner, it's very different. It takes about 5 minutes to find your way around the ship, so you instantly relax. The other thing people are always amazed at is the size of the staterooms. They're very large by stateroom size, configurations. They have 4 different levels of staterooms, and 3 of the 4 levels, they have floor-to-ceiling windows.
Oh, wow.
So you have just a great viewing area.
Views, yeah. All right, so real quick, Kristen, can you give us a little more information on how we can sign up for the tour?
Yes, we make it really easy. They can simply call a number here. It's probably on your screen right now at 888-557-1020, and we can help them. Or they can simply just go to our website. They can put in the search QWAD Quad, and we'll bring up all the information. They can sign up right there.
All right, awesome. So again, we'll post this information on our website, kwqc.com. Kristen with Holiday Vacations, we appreciate you joining us today and talking about this tour hosted by Paula and Holiday Vacations.
Wonderful. Looking forward to seeing you there.
All right. Well, still to come on Quad Cities Live in our second half hour, we'll sit down with an expert to discuss the advantages of chiropractic care for student athletes. And the Figge Art Museum will join us with a panel discussion they're hosting next week, incorporating personal stories, art, and expert analysis. And you're invited to a German-themed comedy show at the Adler Theater later this month. It's just one of many events at the German American Heritage Center that they have coming up. We'll have details on the show that includes a local comedian. But first, we have a high wind warning that continues through this evening with wind gusts higher than 15 miles per hour possible. This comes as the snow wraps up. We'll tell you when the winds calm down and when the next round of snow moves in. Coming up in your First Alert forecast with Teresa Bryant after the break.
And now your First Alert forecast with Teresa Bryant.
And so far, it's been a very active weather day across the region as we've seen not only rain and snow, but also very gusty winds that are moving out of the northwest at about 25 to 35 plus miles per hour, gusts of up to 50 to 55 miles per hour. And that continues across our region as we take a look at road conditions now, starting to improve somewhat in the western edges of the state of Iowa, but still seeing some compromised road conditions across the central portions of the state. Here in the Quad Cities area, not so bad, but still some slick spots out there. So our First Alert day does remain in effect until 10 o'clock this evening for those strong winds with gusts of up over 40 miles per hour. And again, most of the snow finally starting to wind down. We will still see some blowing of that snow, at least over the next couple of hours before all of that precipitation finally departs. Here in the Quad Cities area, dry conditions now, but still some slick spots on area roadways, which we expect to continue into this evening. Later tonight, we will start to see some clearing taking place and then sunshine to start your Thursday, followed by a gradual increase in cloud cover by the mid to late afternoon hours ahead of our next system, set to initially bring some rain into the area late Thursday night and into early Friday, and then changing over to snow as we move through Friday morning and into the afternoon hours. And we could see some accumulations there. Not a lot for the next couple of of hours or so. Total accumulations generally under an inch for most locations, but as we head into Friday, we start to see anywhere from 1 to as much as 2 inches of snowfall for parts of the viewing area. And after that, a big warm up ahead. 24 degrees for the overnight. We'll see evening clouds and clearing and cold conditions. Temperatures reaching 40 degrees in Stockton for tomorrow afternoon, 42 in DeWitt, a reading of 44 degrees in Wapello, 45 in Monmouth, and the Quad Cities looking for sunshine early, followed by an increase in cloud cover by mid to late afternoon and temperatures reaching 43 degrees. Now, as we take a look at your 7-day outlook, some big changes ahead. First, cooler temperatures on Friday with that snow or rain snow mix, and then looking for temperatures on the uptick. 47 degrees on Saturday, 54 expected on Sunday, and look at this. Temperatures reaching into the 60s, possibly near the 70-degree mark for Monday and Tuesday. So a big warm up ahead as we move into next week. But first, we have to get through the rain and snow that we expect to see on Friday. After that, it looks like it's clear sailing, at least for several days.
Well, now, Teresa, I think that we can get through Friday after getting through today. Well, I guess almost getting through today, but just knowing that we're close to 70 degrees in a week.
Yeah,
that's.
I know a lot of folks looking forward to that warm up.
Yeah, that's going to feel nice. All right, thanks, T. Well, we know that athletes take special care of their bodies in every way they can, but how does chiropractic care fit into their fitness plan? Here to answer that question is Dr. Tracy Nelson with Nelson Chiropractic. Tracy, thanks again for being with us today.
Thank you.
All right, so the overall goal here with chiropractic work is to really keep people safe and prevent injury.
Yeah, function. We are all about function, and we love to keep people doing whatever it is they love to do. And sports is a huge thing for a lot of people of all ages.
Yeah, most definitely, of all ages. That's key here. So, you know, we're talking about different sports, whether it's football, soccer, pickleball, like we were talking about. Injury can happen, but chiropractic work can help really people recover a little faster from those injuries.
Yes, we can help recover from muscle injury, joint injuries, and then also just preventing injuries as well.
All right, and it also improves these athletes' performance as well.
Yeah,
it can improve it.
Yeah, it helps with balance, it helps with recovery, it helps people sleep. Better sleep improves your balance, coordination, your brain function, all of those different things, your reaction time.
Yes.
And so when you get better sleep because your body's functioning, your athletic performance is going to improve.
Yeah, that sleep is huge, especially everyone's got daylight saving time in the back of their heads this weekend. So we're all going to have to adjust our sleep, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. So also we want to talk about natural pain relief.
Yeah, so when you get adjusted, you actually have a release of endorphins in your body. So there's literally a rush of the good kind of feel-good hormones in our body, and you feel better mentally and your body functions better.
All right, so also increased flexibility and you know, the range of motion. Chiropractic care really helps with that.
A ton. And all the time when people literally after they get adjusted that they couldn't turn and now they can turn their neck. So, but that happens with everything, with shoulders. A lot of pitchers, for example, can have shoulder blade issues that we can help with getting that range of motion improved, and it helps with their function of what they do.
So really, I mean, this impacts just how your body works as well, because it can also impact the nervous system.
Yep, functioning. Chiropractors are nerve doctors.
Yeah.
We adjust the spine to make the nerves function better. And when your nervous system has less interference, your brain can tell your body parts what to do more efficiently. And so everything works more efficiently.
So what's been the reaction from athletes that you've worked with? What are some common misconceptions that maybe they thought, hey, I didn't know that this was possible?
Yes. A lot of times, especially sleep, that is a very common thing. And then just being able to touch their toes when they couldn't touch their toes after, you know, even like a bad deadlift, for example. We see that a lot, especially with our high school athletes. Deadlifts seem to be troublesome. But it causes a lot of issues like that. But just the instant relief and just the speed of healing with even just a little, not quite a sprain of the ankle, but a tweak of the ankle for a basketball player, it really does recover so much faster. Yeah,
you know, I've never personally been to a chiropractor, but I've had family members who have been, and they talk about that instant relief that they feel after they come out of that. So, you know, you go for a chiropractic session. Is this something that you need to keep up with every so often?
Yeah, so it's kind of like physical therapy or even like a prescription of antibiotics, right? All of it is one treatment. So we change the body over time and improve function over time. Like braces change teeth. right?
Oh, sure,
so it
okay.
isn't just like we straighten your teeth and now you're better. A little bit
One
over
session
time.
and you're done.
I know.
We wish.
Yes, right, for sure. But just over time, things function differently and improve, and then it's just periodic checkups.
All right, so we're talking, again, very young kids to older adults that can benefit from
youth
this.
athletes now, it's pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
And they might be in multiple sports, and they play the same sport all year round because we have amazing opportunities.
Sure, yeah.
So there's a lot less rest and there's more repetition, so there can be more, chronic injuries actually in young kids. So we kind of keep them going.
All right, so if you're maybe interested in getting some chiropractic work done, you have a free screening coming up.
We do,
1
next
week
Wednesday.
from today, right?
Yeah, next Wednesday from 4 to 6. You can come in and just kind of one of those conversations like, is this something that you guys can help with?
Sure.
Like no obligation, no anything, just a little quick conversation and check up to see if, is this worth us checking out for you to save you time.
All right, so there we go. Wednesday, March 12th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Nelson Chiropractic. And if you have any further questions, you can call them at the number on your screen, and we'll also have all of this information posted on our website. Dr. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes.
All right, well, coming up on QCL, art, personal stories, and a panel discussion about dementia. Details on a special event happening next week for families and caregivers at the Figge.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
Well, there's more than just beautiful pieces of art at the Figge Art Museum. There's also an important panel discussion happening soon centered around dementia. Joshua Johnson is here to talk about that discussion, and Joshua is the senior co-curator at the Figge Art Museum. Josh, as always, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So this all centers around the art of Luis Camus, and it's called I Don't See Anything That's Not Beautiful, and it is happening next Thursday, the 13th.
That's correct, yep.
All right.
Yeah, so it'll be a panel discussion amongst people who have knowledge of dementia or Alzheimer's or have been personally affected by it.
Okay.
So there's 4 different panelists. So there's Dana Keaton, who is an art therapist out of Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
She'll be kind of acting as moderator, and in addition, she's also an licensed mental therapist as well as a practicing artist herself, so she has a lot of insight here.
Okay.
Luis Camus, the artist from the exhibition, will of course be participating on the panel. Also, we will have Dr. Rodney Short, who is a local neurologist at Mercy One.
Okay.
And so he will provide kind of the medical expertise about Alzheimer's and dementia. And then we will have Kathy Good, who is the director of a Center for Aging and Dementia in Cedar Rapids as well. So a lot of different facets being represented on the panel, and it should be a really good conversation.
Yeah, and I feel like there's some sort of stigma still attached to this, so this is a good time to open that discussion. So we were just seeing some pieces of art from Luis Camus.
Yeah.
How does that art relate to the topic of mental health and dementia?
So this is a topic that's very kind of personal to Louise. Her own mother died of a variant of dementia, and actually one of the pieces that's kind of central to the exhibition is where the title comes from, I Don't See Anything That's Not Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's from a series of works that there was a sister at a convent in DeKalb where Louise lives who was basically making piles of sticks throughout the convent as a way of kind of beautifying the landscape, but also kind of marking her path and helping her kind of find her path every day. And Louise began doing charcoal drawings of this and then doing screen prints and really worked through this in many different mediums. And that kind of process is what's on display in the exhibition. And now this will be kind of a conversation about dementia more generally and also that kind of specific person's story. And that's actually where the title of the exhibition comes from, is the sister who Louise ended up interviewing said, I don't see that's anything here that's not beautiful, in reference to those piles of sticks.
All right, so how long is this exhibit on display?
So this will be on display through early May, so there's still some time to see it. Yeah, and you can also be able to check it out Thursday night on March 13th. So we're open to the public like every Thursday night from 5 till 8 p.m.
Great opportunity.
Yeah, and so starting at 5 p.m., we open the doors to public. Well, we're always open to the public, but it's free to the public. And then we do have a cash bar, so if you want to come to the talk, you can have a drink beforehand, and then the actual talk starts at 6:30. And so you get a chance to see the exhibitions beforehand, go to the talk, and then maybe see it again after.
Yeah, grab a little drink, go to the exhibit, and then get in on this discussion. So how did you go about selecting those different panelists?
So we talked to a lot of different elder caregivers in the community, local hospitals we reached out to, and we were just trying to get a wide kind of range of different experiences. I should mention, in addition to all the panelists' kind of expertise in this field, they all also are kind of personally touched by dementia or Alzheimer's. You know, they either had a relative that they cared for that passed, or they themselves have been instrumental in caring for someone. So it's not just talking through their expertise, it's talking through kind of personal experience as well.
And we always circle this back to art. So how do you think that art can help people who are either going through Alzheimer's or maybe caregivers who are taking care of someone going through this terrible disease?
Yeah, you know, we often find that art is kind of a catalyst for starting a conversation, right? And oftentimes conversations that can be difficult. You know, so you're walking through the museum and you see an exhibition like this and you're struck initially by its immense beauty, and then you begin to read a little bit about the content and think about how she is kind of displaying these things, and it sparks the conversation. I've been really interested in how guests have been kind of leaving half-page comments in our book, basically with personal responses to this exhibition. So it's really touching people.
And that's what you want people to take away, is they want to feel that connection to all our art.
Yeah.
All right, Joshua, thank you so much. The Louise Camus I Don't See Anything That's Not Beautiful Dementia Panel discussion is happening March 13th from 6:30 to 8 at the Figge Art Museum. The doors will open at 5 and the discussion starts at 6:30 in the John Deere Auditorium. Now, admission is free, as it always is at that time on Thursdays, but the Figge will be collecting money to donate to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, always an important cause.
Yes.
And Joshua, as always, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, still ahead on QCL, the German American Heritage Center will join us with several upcoming events, including a German-themed comedy show. We'll get all the details next.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
The mission of the German American Heritage Center is to preserve and enrich knowledge of the German American experience and its impact on American culture.
Yeah, and the organization is doing just that with several events coming up in the next few weeks. And Brian Allen is joining us now, the executive director of the German American Heritage Center and Museum. That's a mouthful.
It's a lot.
But you do important work in the Quad Cities. So the first thing we want to talk about is you have a big comedy show coming up at the Adler at the end of the month, and it's featuring a German comedian.
That's right, yeah. And first I want to say thanks for having me.
Of course, always.
Yeah, Paco Erhard's coming on March 29th, and we are stoked to have him. Chris Schlichting's going to be opening up for him.
Who's a local comedian.
That's right.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Have you seen him?
I have not yet, but I hear raving reviews.
Well, March 29th,
yes.
You can come.
I remember his interview vividly when we had him on the show several months ago or something like that. So that should be a good show. So what time is this happening at?
This is happening at 7. Doors open at 6. Yep.
And we can get tickets on the Adler's website?
You can. That's the easiest place.
Okay.
And a little sneak is we're going to have a promotion on St. Patrick's Day.
Well, let's take a quick listen to a clip of the comedian that you'll hear.
Sometimes you just need time off being German. That's why we travel to countries like Italy. To just once glance into the abyss of chaos. It's our guilty pleasure. You can see us in Italian hotel lobbies going, Werner, do you know what I did this morning at breakfast? I was 10 minutes late.
Germans, they love their order and efficiency, so we're in for a good show.
Yeah,
that's right. Yep.
All right, so we got a couple other events coming up. Of course, you have the Cafe and Kuchen.
Yep.
Got it?
Yeah, we do them twice a month.
Yeah.
So these are a special thing for us because they're a series. So every month we've got 2 of them. They're on the 2nd and 4th Sundays.
Okay.
At 2 o'clock is when the program starts, but at 1:30 we pull out cake and coffee.
Yeah.
So that we can have a nice program and have people come in for some kind of fellowship and socializing before we get started with the program.
Okay, so the one you have coming up this Sunday, that's free to the public, correct?
Yeah, this one is free to the public.
All right.
And it's going to be a music recital. So that's with Lily Arbesser and Dimitri Malinan, and they're going to be performing music that's accompanying our exhibition on friendship. So I was here talking about that a few weeks ago. We have an exhibition going on right now on our 4th floor. Yeah, these photographs that are all about friends. They're these beautiful, big double portraits. We've got 24 of them, black and white. And
we have Singing Wheels.
Yeah, so that one's the next one 2 weeks later. So our 4th Sunday this time will be all about the trucking industry and the Fruhauf trucking exhibition that we're going to be opening soon. So.
Okay, and that one though, it's free for members, but isn't there a fee for non-members?
There is, yeah. It's $8, which is the same as our admission.
Sure.
So it's free for members, and the cost of admission for other people, which is just how we do all of our Coffee and Kuchens, but this Sunday is a special one. So.
Definitely, and we got some workshops coming up as well. You know, we had the Basanka workshop happening in LeClaire this weekend. I saw you talking with Xenia over there.
Yeah.
So you've got one coming up this Saturday as well.
We do, yeah, and there's openings still, so you can hop onto our website and check that out. There's actually 2 happening on the same day. If I remember right, they're 10 and 1, but if you go to our website at gahc.org, you can check that out.
And basket weaving.
Basket weaving coming up, embroidery, so yeah, be sure to check out our workshops because there's always something new around the corner.
Yeah, definitely, and always you've got many different exhibits going on as well.
Yep, we just opened one on our recent acquisitions, so it's kind of nice because, you know, exhibitions always have a theme. Well, the theme of this one is stuff that's new to us. So it's like a way for us to show things that people have donated.
And you know, if these workshops, the egg decorating or the basket weaving or the embroidery, maybe those are your interests that get you into the German American Heritage Center, maybe the exhibits will get you to stay.
That's right. Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, all right. Well, if you want more information about all of these events, or if you want to take a look at the current exhibitions at the German American Heritage Center, you can head to gahc.org. Brian, always something going on at the German American Heritage Center. And you also wanted to show off a little bit of beer that you served at Oktoberfest, right?
Yeah. So we have an Oktoberfest that was made for us called Erba 48 with Twin Span Brewing. We unveiled it at Oktoberfest in the fall, and it's for sale right now in the store. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Get your beer, your workshops, everything.
Support local.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right, thank you so much, Brian, and thank you so much for watching Quad Cities Live today.
Your News at 4 with Sharon is coming up next. Have a great day.